Hello all, we are in the second lesson, cell basic unit of life. We have seen about onion peel cell and human cheek cell, and today we are going to learn about functions of cell wall, cell membrane and nucleus. So the function of cell wall. What is the function of cell wall? Cell wall gives rigidity to the cell. What is the meaning of rigidity? Rigidity means strength or toughness. Strength or toughness to the organism, that is plant here. So it gives rigidity to the cell, that is toughness. For example, if you compare plant and animal, which is stronger among these two? Definitely it is plant. You can't hit the plant with your hand. You can't hit the tree with your hand. So here plant is stronger, tree is stronger compared to animal because it contains cell wall. Cell wall gives rigidity, that is toughness and strength to the organism. And this cell wall, already you know, this cell wall is present only in plants. Only in plants cell wall is present. In animals, cell wall is not present. So only in plants you can observe this cell wall. It gives rigidity to the cell. And next we have cell membrane. What is the function of cell membrane? Cell membrane gives shape to the cell and it allows only selective materials to pass through the cell. See, now you can see different shapes of the cell. All the cells will not be similar in shape. Each cell is different. So, why the cell is getting that specific shape? That is due to cell membrane and allows only selective materials to pass through the cell. That means what? Suppose imagine this is a cell membrane. You all know cell membrane is the outermost boundary of animals. So imagine that if it is a cell membrane, suppose here oxygen is present outside the cell. Now oxygen is needed to the cell. So cell membrane is going to allow the oxygen to come inside. And suppose if you see bacteria, bad bacteria or harmful bacteria is present outside. Harmful bacteria is present outside. This harmful bacteria is not needed to the cell. So, cell membrane is not going to allow the harmful bacteria to enter into the cell. That means here, whatever necessary or whatever important to the cell, only those materials will be allowed into the cell. Other materials will be stopped by the cell membrane. Next we have nucleus. Third we have nucleus. And the cell membrane is present both in plants and animals. Cell membrane is present both in plants and animals, but cell wall is present only in plants. And nucleus. You already have seen in the cell the round structure which will be present in the cell, that is nucleus. Now nucleus is very important. So, why nucleus is important? Because it contains genetic material inside the nucleus. What is this genetic material? Genetic material is nothing but DNA. Okay, from your parents, from your parents, the characteristics are passed to you. From your parents, the characteristics are passed to you. For example, shape of your nose or the type of your hair. So, some of the characters or most of the characters from your parents are passing to you. So, how is it passing? So, it is passing with the help of DNA. So, where this DNA is present? It is present in the nucleus. So, DNA is nothing but genetic material here. So, where this genetic material is present? Inside the nucleus. So, nucleus is very much important to the cell. You are going to learn more importance of nucleus in your higher classes. So, you have to remember this. Now, next you have cytoplasm. What is the importance of cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is the liquid or fluid substance which is present inside the cell. Suppose this is a cell and inside its nucleus, and inside it has some fluid material. Inside the cell we have fluid material, that is nothing but cytoplasm. Now what is the importance of cytoplasm here? So cytoplasm is important to us because it helps in holding cell organelles. It helps in holding cell organelles. What is the cell organelles? Suppose this is a cell. Inside nucleus is present. Nucleus is nothing but a cell organelle. Where nucleus is staying, where nucleus is situated, it is in the cytoplasm only. It is in the cytoplasm only. Okay. Like nucleus, there are many cell organelles present in the cell, which you are going to learn in higher class. So, cytoplasm will hold all the cell organelles. So that is the importance of cytoplasm. And they asked you, and they said that cytoplasm is a heterogeneous material. Why you call cytoplasm is a heterogeneous material? First, we know the function of cytoplasm. It holds all the cell organelles in the cell. That is first thing. Then they gave you cytoplasm is a heterogeneous material. What is the meaning of heterogeneous material? So you should understand the term now. We have two terms. One is homogeneous and other one is heterogeneous. Okay. Homogeneous means it contains same substances or same components. Heterogeneous means it contains different components. Here homogeneous means it contains same components. Heterogeneous means it contains different components. So cytoplasm is a heterogeneous material because in heterogeneous means it contains different components. What are the different components present in the cytoplasm? It contains water, salts and various types of proteins are present in the cytoplasm. Same substance is not present. Okay. Water is separate, salt is a different component and proteins are different component. As different components are present in the cytoplasm, we say it is a heterogeneous substance. So these are the functions of cell wall, cell membrane and nucleus and cytoplasm. So next we are going to see the topic that is diversity in cells. What is the meaning of this diversity? Diversity means variations. Diversity means variations. Means different types of cells are present. So in diversity in cells, that means you can see different kinds, different varieties of cells. So here we are going to see what are those different kinds of cells. First one is unicellular organisms. In the name itself you have to understand. Uni means single. Uni means single. So unicellular organism, that means single celled organisms. So organisms which contain only one cell is called unicellular organisms. Here, organisms which contains only one cell is called unicellular organisms. That means if you take an organism, it has only one cell. And very important thing is all the life processes are performed by single cells only. Now you should know what are life processes. Life processes is nothing but digestion, excretion, respiration, circulation. These are various life processes are occurring inside our body. That is digestion, excretion, respiration, reproduction. All these are called as life processes. So all the life processes are performed by single cell. That means only one cell is going to perform all these processes. I repeat, only one cell is going to perform only one cell is going to perform all these processes, whether it is digestion, excretion, reproduction, respiration. All these life processes are performed by single cell. Here we have examples of unicellular organism. I repeat, unicellular are the organisms which contains only one cell. So here we have examples, that is Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is a unicellular organism. If you see, it is only one cell, and this only one cell is going to perform all the life processes. Amoeba. Amoeba is also a single cell. And next we have a bacteria, that is Escherichia coli. Escherichia coli is also a single celled unicellular organism. So this is one cell. This is one bacteria, this is one bacteria, this is one bacteria. Escherichia coli. So these are the unicellular organisms. That means it contains only one cell. So next we have multicellular organisms. Multicellular, in the name itself you understood what are multicellular organisms. Organisms which contain more than one cell are called multicellular organisms. Organisms which contain more than one cell are called multicellular organisms. So here, which organism contains more than one cell? You can see a plant contains more than one cell, human being contains more than one cell, all kinds of animals, cat, dog, ant, elephant, all these contains many cells. So that's why we say those organisms as multicellular organisms. And here what you have to remember is, all life processes are formed by different types of cells. That means, suppose if digestion is there, digestion is performed by one different type of cell. Excretion is performed by other type of cells, different other type of cells, some other different types of cell. Respiration is there. Respiration is performed by some other different types of cell. Single cell is not going to perform all the life processes. For each life process, one type of cells will be present to perform that function. So, only in unicellular organisms, all life processes are done by single cell. Here in multicellular organisms, all life processes are performed by different types of cells. So, this is about unicellular and multicellular organisms. In the next video, we are going to discuss about how multicellular organisms are going to perform different functions and different types of cells which are present in human body, that we are going to see.